So people are getting dumber and dumber according to studies. They're saying that the Gen Z are dumber than millennials because they score lower on standardized tests and IQ tests and stuff like that. So let's hear what these people gotta say.
After 2020, bro, people just got so fucking stupid. Like, I was at work, right? And these two individuals were talking about the moon. And I overheard them saying, like, yeah, man, that shit ain't real. And I'm thinking they talking about the moon landings being fake. I'm like, okay, all right, I believe in the moon landings, but at least we can both agree that the moon is a real object in space. I kid you fucking not, bro. These jokers are talking about the earth being flat and the moon not actually existing. Like, what the fuck is going on, man? I had to look over there, bro. I'm like, there's no fucking way they're having this conversation.
People can't read anymore. That's bad. That's really bad. And when I say can't read, I mean a level of illiteracy that is that of like a third grader. Not that they can't read a stop sign or, you know, they're scrolling on their phone. They're able to read comments and all this other shit. But it's like kids today and people today have reading levels far below what par is for their grade, right? Like, people are stupid now. And it's like, oh my God, this is a problem. Like, the future generations of people that are like Gen Alpha kids can't fucking read. And it's like, that's true of like a large portion of like American adults now, but it's like that percentage of people that have like reading levels of that of a 9-year-old is like increasing more and more to where like I'm worried of like how the fuck, well, like what college students are going to look like 20 years from now. Like, are they actually going to be trying or are they going to be cheating on everything? And I think like what teachers say specifically through what I've like looked into online is that the gap, not just like we're going to get into wealth inequality gap soon. I think that's a problem. But the gap of intelligence between students has risen more and more and more.
Why are our kids getting dumber in the U.S.? This is my personal perspective being a teacher and a musician. I know that most of you already know this, you've already read this, but the nation's report card just showed that math and reading test scores are lower than they've ever been. Recent data shows that in high school, 33% are proficient only in reading, 22% in math. That's really low. As an aside, in the current administration, we all know that their non-solution by cutting tons of funding for the Department of Education and dismantling it is not a solution. It's just going to keep dumb kids dumber. Let's talk about critical thinking. Best gift we can give ourselves and our kids is learning how to think. We need to learn how to creatively find solutions to problems. Without this skill, reading, math, understanding literature, living a successful and happy life is absolutely impossible. We all know that math is a language, just like reading English is a language. So clearly language is a big part of the problem. Why aren't we getting better at language? We could blame social media till the cows come home, but that is very reductionist. It's just a tiny piece of a way, way bigger problem. Hear me out. In the last 20 years or more, there have been constant budget cuts to arts programs. Well, we're getting dumber, right? So if we just get rid of the arts, get rid of music, get rid of just humanities in general, we can focus on standardized tests in math and English. That approach hasn't helped, and it's like chopping off your child's leg in order for them to be a better runner. Guess what? Music is also a language. Did you know that you can remember theories and facts better with music? You can use music as a mnemonic. So what's a mnemonic? Mnemonics are techniques to grow and expand our capacity to remember. It's how ancient peoples passed infinite amounts of knowledge through generations over thousands of years with never writing anything down. They did it by singing to each other. This form of passing their knowledge is still being used today in indigenous cultures in Australia, in the Americas, in Africa, in India, etc. Do you think there's any coincidence that we sing our ABCs and every culture does? By removing music, we have diminished the brain's capacity to learn listen, create, and remember. By removing art programs, we've also diminished our capacity to learn problem solving, awareness of science, and how the world works in terms of light and shadow, objects in space, the physics of our world, how we see the world, how we perceive the world. It's removed our capacity to appreciate beauty and joy in a day-to-day curriculum. If you want smarter kids, you have to develop more parts of the brain, not tiny little places only. Less subjects means less knowledge. Know that the brain is plastic. It needs stimulation, lots of stimulation in order to grow and connect. Every single language, music, art, science, English, math are ways of understanding ourselves and the world we live in. Trillions of dollars are being pulled away from educational systems and our children's futures by lining pockets of billionaires, by going into AI, by going into war, by going into so many things. And this is a problem of value, of devaluing human beings. If we stay dumb, then we're just going to be cogs in a wheel feeding the billionaires. Most people do not have money to send their kids to learn music out of school, or art out of school, or language out of school. This is something that now, as parents that are working ourselves to anemia, are needing to figure out. We need to figure this out on our own. So if we don't have the money, we have to do things like expose our children to music on our own, or go to museums that on days that it's open and free, because without that, we've literally sucked the life out of these kids.
And the older I get, the more I realize people are dumb as fuck. No cap. It's like the older you get and the more you have conversations with people, you realize how many people do not know how to critically think. How many people don't comprehend or read or actually pay attention to detail just to understand what they're doing. And not only that, a lot of people will just say stuff and have an opinion on something and have not done any research, don't know what they're talking about, and just blowing steam and noise from something they got off Facebook that's just completely incorrect. And here's the thing, when you try to correct people and you're like, hey, that information is wrong, here's the actual truth, the pushback be like, God, the pushback is crazy. I mean, it's worse than a Jehovah's Witness knocking at your door at 8 a.m. I'm just trying to give you the game of what I know in a very nice and polite way, and now you're cussing me out. Because I am requiring you to critically think, to prove your point, to understand what you are saying. See how that works? So yeah, the older you get, the more you just realize people are dumb as fuck. Don't be shocked.
I'm sorry, but like, America legitimately is just getting fucking stupid. I am convinced that we as a society are losing IQ points by the second. I just, there is no intelligence on this app. There is no intellectual commenter I think that I have come across in a very long time. You can expressly say, this is a concept I learned in college from professors who have doctorates. It's really interesting. Let me share it with you. And somebody will say, oh, that's an interesting take. Take? It's a legitimate concept. It is a legitimate theory that is within this specific realm of study, and you're calling it a take because you think I pulled it out of my ass, even though I just expressly told you that I learned it in college from people with doctorates. Like, I feel as if I am bashing my head against a wall 24/7 because I don't know if I'm just not articulating appropriately or if people are just this fucking stupid. I don't. And it is a constant fight because it's so demoralizing to feel like no matter what you say, no matter how well you articulate yourself, no matter how excited you are about something, people just do not have the intelligence to understand what you are saying. And I know that that sounds narcissistic and it's making me sound like, oh, I'm so smart, blah, 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 blah. I'm not. I'm of pretty, I would say, average intelligence, but I'm at a point where I feel like I am commonly the smartest person in the room on this app, and that should not be the case. I don't like it. It's infuriating. Like, use common sense. Have your neurons rub together a little bit and have them fire. I swear to God.
Okay, so I don't think we're getting dumber and dumber in this generation. I feel, though, that there's a lot of distractions around us, not allowing us to critically think, okay? Because think about it, way back then, the way of acquiring information has so much labor. You know, you would have to go to school, you would have to open up a book, you would have to go to the library to actually acquire knowledge and information. Compared to today, where you can just open up your phone and in a matter of seconds, you would have that information, you would have an answer. So I would say in this generation, we are more informative. The way of acquiring information is much easier than back then. But with so much things going on, it kind of hinders us from questioning, what is this really for? You know, how do I really use this? Because yes, you have the information, but what is this information for and what do you do with it? That is gonna, it really depends on the individual whether they're gonna try to critically think from that information that they retrieve. Because with this technology, it makes things easier, it makes things super easy, which is they're basically just doing all the work for us, you know? So it's a different way of acquiring knowledge and information.
From now on, when I meet people, the first question I'm gonna ask them, are you on TikTok? If they say no, conversation over. Are y'all not noticing? People outside the TikTok community are the dumbest motherfuckers on the planet. Conversation is like talking to a brick fucking wall. These people don't believe a motherfucking thing and don't know shit. Gas prices shooting up. It went up, I don't know, 60 motherfucking cents in 4 fucking days. And these motherfuckers talk, oh, no. I mean, that's got nothing to do with that war, and that's not really a war. You know, America, we're going to go in there, we're going to knock their ass off. Bruh, are you not seeing what the fuck we're seeing? Well, no, the media said, you stupid motherfucker. You still listen to the media. Why would the media lie? That's our news outlet. Oh, my God. I said, bro, have you ever thought about TikTok? Oh, no. See, that right there, that's just people on there lying about everything. I said, haven't you ever considered that the media and the government lying to you? Why would our government lie? I said, you know what, dude? I'm done. I can't talk to you. Bro, you got to get off that social media. No, you need to get on the motherfucker. Listen, conversation stops. If you're not on TikTok, and I ain't talking to y'all, because evidently y'all on this motherfucker, but on the street, I'm not talking to nobody. These people dumb as fuck.
I am shocked at how stupid young people are. Like, we're screwed. We're kind of screwed because people that are in their 20s right now are the laziest, most complaining, like ill-equipped people that I've ever seen in my life. We've been to 3 Starbucks when we travel. I just want to go to Starbucks, get the little lattes. The dumbest, most unequipped human beings that I've ever seen in my life. They can't even have a conversation with you. They have no concept of customer service. They make your drinks wrong and they're mad at you for making their drink wrong. We're making your drink wrong. I asked a girl for the drink twice and she made it wrong twice and I just walked away. I just went to one now. I said, my wife want an espresso, tall cup, extra ice with sweet cream on the side. I swear to God, that's the easiest thing you could ever order. Espresso, extra ice in a tall cup, sweet cream on the side. The girl came and said, does she want extra cream in the drink? Ma'am, what part of espresso on ice, cream on the side do you not understand? How are you gonna make it in life and you cannot understand a simple request from a job that you work on with a menu that you run every day?
The reason I don't like talking to people is because I find them absolutely stupid. And I'm pretty sure they probably think I'm stupid until they start talking to me. And one thing I realize is a lot of people have not been exposed to real and rare. And once they get a taste of it, they crave more. And once you actually start having conversations with people, you realize that they do not possess actual intelligence. And I'm not talking about the intelligence that you gain going through school and going to these big Ivy League schools. I'm talking about some of these people are so surface level that you have to sit there and nod in agreement. It will never be me because that's delusion and confusion. Because your energy is not worth the conversation. So you sit there and just smile and nod. So it never surprises me when I have a conversation. It surprises other people when they think that I'm not capable of holding one. No, I'm not capable of having a conversation with you because it's an attempt to have a conversation. And then again, a lot of people are just putting on a facade to energy siphon and energy swap. That's the reason why some of us are always drained or we dread answering that phone call or responding to that text message. That's it.
Look, the reason kids are getting dumber, bro, because of the times we live in. See, nowadays, bro, if you taking a little test or something, bro, you could just Google the answers and shit. But now it's like motherfuckers don't even want to do the work, bro, because they feel like, damn, if I can Google the answer, bro, I don't need school, bro. Anything I need, I could just Google it. Like I'm saying, though, bro, people lack critical thinking skills. Like, for instance, let's use this as an example. You got a mother, right? And instead of giving her kid a book or telling them to go outside and play, she give this little nigga a phone or an iPad or something, bro, to go browse on the internet. And then no wonder he stumbled on videos of people that are men dressing like women, and then y'all get mad at the people on the internet. First of all, why does a 6-year-old have a phone and is able to access the internet? It's all types of stuff on there that's questionable to a kid that don't understand stuff about sex or racism or homosexuality. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Growing up, my mama ain't even let me get on the internet, bro. So I was like, I don't even know how old I was, bro. Like in 7th grade, probably. I couldn't even play Call of Duty online, but now that I got older and stuff and you get in them lobbies, now I understand, though. Them kids be racist as hell, especially when they getting renovated. But that's besides the point. Our school curriculum is fucked, bro. We need to start giving kids tablets and iPads and shit and tell them to go play. They need to learn critical thinking skills, bro. They need to be able to read books and shit like that. It shouldn't be no way that a black male that's in a fucking 6th, 7th grade is reading like a 3rd grader. You should not be on no 3rd grade reading level, bro. You damn near a grown ass motherfucking man, bro. That's a fucking shame. We can't even pick on you for popcorn reading and shit, but you all on the internet seeing hoes. You don't deserve to see no gnats, bro. You deserve to read your ass a book and sit there until you get to the reading level that you're supposed to be on.
The kids are fucked. Like, I knew that the pandemic and ChatGPT was making us dumber. I didn't realize it was this bad. The University of California, San Diego just released a study on the math level of their incoming freshmen. And it is fucking horrible. 1 out of every 8 kids needs to take a remedial math course. In 2020, like 5 years ago, it was 1 out of every 100. It 10x'd in 5 years. And when they say remedial math, they really mean remedial math. 1 out of every 10 kids couldn't do 66 plus 44. 25% of kids got 7 plus 2 equals blank plus 6 wrong. That's 25% of kids not being able to answer a 1st grade math question. 61% of kids couldn't round a number to the nearest 100. Holy fuck. And keep in mind, this isn't high school or community college. This is UCSD, one of the best schools in the country. This school has a 24% acceptance rate. And before you make fun of UCSD, no, this is happening across the board at all colleges. This is my friend at MIT doing ChatGPT essays. And honestly, I don't blame the students at all. First of all, the pandemic did ruin a lot of our attention spans. It is hard to focus nowadays. Someone in my Discord said that he had an in-class essay and it felt like a blue-collar job. Are we deadass right now? It was an in-class essay. Schools need to do a better job at teaching and testing their students. It's fucking stupid to be like, oh, you can't use AI. Everyone and everything use AI nowadays. Truthfully, I don't know what the solution is. I don't even know if there is a solution. We just might all be fucked.
Also, to call someone dumb because they haven't read a book in a long time is kind of absurd. Because yes, you could be reading, but are you critically thinking? Because you could be watching a video which has the same message as the book that you are reading, but the video is much quicker to understand, to grasp the message, to grasp the information, which allows you to save time. So what is really the difference? You know, which is better, watching the video or actually reading the book? Because you can both critically think while watching the video. You can question yourself, why is this happening? Why is he doing that? What is the reason behind this? You can critically think while you're watching the video, while you're watching the lesson, whereas some people prefer to read a book. You know, it really depends on what you want to do. You know, it's preference, because I personally like to watch videos because it's quicker and it's more chill. I hate reading because it puts me to sleep, and I sometimes just don't prefer it. I prefer writing, and it's just, it really depends on people sometimes.
I mean this in the least offensive way, but some people are just so dumb. I was talking to somebody about how I've been obsessed with frozen bananas because it's been ridiculously hot nowadays. And this person was like, oh, Ari, don't eat more than one, otherwise you're going to have a heart attack. What? And what they said, verbatim, they said, I know more about this than you because I read an article online. They said this unironically. And I told them, I was like, I already had 2 bananas today and I'm fine. And they were like, no, your heart is literally going to stop because of the potassium levels. So you need to go to the emergency room right now. And obviously I was skeptical, but I was still kind of anxious. So I looked it up myself, and guess what? You would have to eat 400 bananas in order for your heart to stop. Not 2. 400. And then I showed them the study on my phone and I was like, hey, by the way, 2 bananas is completely fine, you're wrong. And they were like, oh, that's the article that I saw. Are you for real? And it turns out that they only read the headline and assumed that anything past 1 banana would automatically give you a heart attack. The lack of understanding and just reading comprehension in general is appalling. Not just for kids, but for everybody. If you are going to use an article to inform someone about something, please do us all a favor and read through the article before spewing nonsense. Like, I am genuinely worried about us as a species at this point.
Yersky, unrelated to the fro, but the educational system is genuinely going downhill, at least in America. I feel like the class of 24, maybe the class of 25, had a decent bunch of people who actually cared about their education and graduating and learning as much as possible, because going into the world with less intelligence feels terrifying, right? This younger group of kids, they just don't care. I had a chat with my younger brother about a month ago, and I had just asked him, I don't know how we got on the topic, but I asked him to spell the word branch. He could not spell the word branch. Mind you, this guy is 6 foot something, towering over me in 6th grade, and you can't spell the word branch. I made sure to explain to him that I'm not downing him, I'm not talking down on him or nothing, but that is not a good sign. You're in the 6th grade and you cannot spell a basic educational English word. What is going on? And he looked at me as if like I'm the problem. I'm like, no, buddy. Either your school's not doing something or you did this to yourself. Mind you, I used to tutor him when I was younger. Like, give him legit ball knowledge on what he should be learning. But nowadays, these kids are really questionable. Like, you know the deepest knowledge on what happened on O Block, say about 10 years ago, but you don't know what the Declaration of Independence is? It's not adding up.
Gen Z is literally the first generation in modern history that is dumber than their parents. And just to be clear, that's not my opinion. That's what the fucking science shows. They are the first generation in modern history to underperform the generation before them in every single measure of cognitive ability that we have. That's in basic attention, memory, literacy, numeracy, executive function, and even general IQ. In every single one of those categories, Gen Z performs at least 2/3 of a deviation less than the millennial and Gen Z generations. The worst part about all this is they go to school more. Gen Z goes to school more than any generation ever. They spend more time with instruction than any generation ever. And the worst part is this isn't even Gen Z's fault. Like, there are 80 countries that have primarily adopted digital technology to teach students. And of those 80 countries, performance went down with the introduction of technology in every single one. Like, it's not just a little, but significantly. We did this to Gen Z. Our focus and reliance on technology instead of focusing on teachers. We did this. But still, it doesn't change the fact that...
I hate to say it, but I think we're all getting dumber. Did you know only 48% of adults read at least one book last year? 10 years ago, it was 55%. IQ scores among young people have been going down since the early 2000s due to increased screen time and fragmented attention spans. Hell, my nephew broke his arm last week. I asked him if he fell off his bike. He goes, "No, I broke it doing a TikTok challenge." Nice kid, but kind of a dip.
We are about to enter into a stage of humanity where there are 2 classes. There are going to be the educated and the uneducated. And there's a fucking reason that these billionaires are putting their kids in schools that don't use technology. Because it's making us fucking stupid. Right now is undoubtedly and unequivocally the greatest time in the history of mankind to be a stupid, dumb fuck. And simultaneously, the hardest time to be anybody with any sort of level of intelligence or rationality. Smart fucks with college degrees can't even use them. And dumb fucks without them are looking to the people with the degrees like, I fucking told you, learning is stupid. And therein lies my problem. I miss the dumb fucks of the past. Those people with those big goldfish eyes and goldfish brains who knew that they didn't know shit. So whenever somebody who knew shit entered a room and started talking, they would listen. They would listen like they were able to hold on to that information and use it tactfully, but they couldn't because they were fucking stupid. Now a dumb fuck doesn't listen to anybody. Now a dumb fuck will confidently say some shit like, you can't trust scientists. And it's like, kinda, but you have to have a level of scientific understanding and knowledge to know where to draw the lines on what is and is not scientific bullshit. Where exists the agenda that is causing you to want to believe some sort of thing? You don't fucking have that. So now your kids have polio. And if you argue with them in real life, they shut down, they lose, and then they know their place. But that's not what happens. They go on the fucking internet. They go on the internet where they can look up the answers to everything all the time, and then they pretend they always knew it and they always understood it. Then the dumb fucks start actually giving each other advice, but they can't read, so they can't put it out in a book. They got to put it out in auditory form, and they call it a podcast, and they put it out for the masses, and millions of people watch these podcasts.
You were supposed to be part of the smartest generation alive, and that never happened because the numbers are showing that the world is getting dumber, and IQ scores have been steadily dropping since 2010. And I know people have their gripes about IQ, but just take a look at the literacy rates right now and you'll see the same thing. There are many explanations for this, but one of the factors that you can actually do something about is that we're not reading anymore. We used to get our information from books and newspapers, to then getting it from TV, to now we've reached the point where 1 in 5 adults are getting their information from TikTok, where you're incentivized to get as many views as possible, and that often involves spreading misinformation. In a society where the written word is king, you have to put more effort into the ideas that you're sharing with the world. People can't just say whatever they want because we're using our critical thinking skills. It's easier to point out logical fallacies and bias, and it's a better environment for rational discussion. You stumble across an insightful video that stimulates your brain. You don't have time to process what you just learned, come up with your own ideas on the subject, or expand your knowledge on this topic because you just flick and you're on to the next video, which is about something completely different. Even if you go into the comments to try to start up a productive conversation, it's filled with rage baiters and bean soupers who didn't even have the attention span to finish the video, and also don't have the comprehension skills to engage in a serious discussion. Our analytical skills are far from being completely atrophied, so there's still hope for us. But with the rise of technology like ChatGPT, this decline in our intelligence is going to rapidly accelerate. So you need to read more, put the phone down, encourage the young people around you to also read more, and start doing your own research so you don't immediately believe everything that you see on social media, including this video.
I just want to say that the reason why these kids can't read or write or do like anything on their own and they're testing so badly is their parents' fault. It's their parents' fault. It's not the kids' fault. None of these millennial parents are pulling out workbooks and scholastic books to do over the summer. None of these millennial parents are forcing their kids to sit down and read a book because they're not reading books themselves. A lot of these millennial parents and Gen Z parents are trying to live through their kids, saying, oh, I didn't like doing that when I was little, so I'm not going to force you to do it. Well, now your kid can't read. A lot of these millennial and Gen Z parents are like, if you don't know the answer, just Google it. And now your kids are dumb.
We live in the midst of the stupidest generation in the history of planet Earth. Everyone is a short-sighted idiot that cannot look beyond their phone and the immediate temptation that it provides for them. Put your phone down, look up to your God. Put your phone down, look to your future. Put your phone down, look to your legacy. Put your phone down, look to your grandchildren, and realize that the decisions you make today will bless or curse them tomorrow.
I also don't believe in the IQ test. I don't believe that there's a certain way to test people's brains, how smart they are, because we're all different. We all have our own strengths, and someone could be artistic and someone could be musically inclined. Someone could be mathematically inclined, but they lack on other stuff. You know, that's just how we are. I think the measure of intelligence is based on the experience. You know, I believe that if you're more experienced on this, therefore you're more knowledgeable in that field. You know, I believe that experience is the true knowledge, because the more experience you have, the more you know, right? I think common sense should be like determined determining factor whether someone can actually think, you know? Like 1 + 1 is 2. If someone says it's 5, then something might be wrong in there. But common sense is definitely something all people should be good with. If not, then there's something wrong. But experience is definitely the measure of knowledge, in my opinion.